I know it is. I've seen it. We've screened it across Pakistan, and I've seen a lot of people crying. I cry every time myself when I watch it. I think the credit also goes to the direction team who produced this film so beautifully. Latika, to start with, the kind of themes that are covered in this film, they're very close to our heart, but at the same time, we see that child marriage is very prevalent in Pakistan and South Asia. So what do you have to say? Why UNFPA produced this original film, and what kind of themes you wanted this film to cover, and what message you want this film to put across?
Thanks, Mariam. As you all can see in this movie, it's an everyday lived experience of young girls in our countries, even in my country, in here, in every villages. So producing this movie for us was not only for the sake of giving a message, but it's also capturing nuances of how we see violence in our everyday lives. Because I want to talk about three things that we wanted to capture here in this movie. One was different form of violence that we can see. Starting from very early age, a girl is denied education just because she was harassed by few male boys. Nothing happened to these boys. They harassed, they left. But what was an impact of that harassment to a young girl's life is huge, because she then was forced to get married because her family thought that it is a reputation. If this kind of harassments happen, then my girl will be blamed, my girl will be victimized, and that's why she got into getting married. So it was a denial of her right to education. Underage, she was underage. When she went to, and she may never had wanted to be pregnant or get married at that age, but she was forced into that situation. She expressed that she wanted to study. She was excellent in mathematics. We saw it in the movies. So another form of violence was underage marriage, definitely getting into the situation whereby she had to face an unwanted pregnancy. And the bigger thing is the health consequences of then a pregnancy at a very early age, which means that when your body is not ready for a marriage and to get pregnant, it has consequences. She was underage. She went through an anemic process where the doctor said that she has a very low blood count, and she was anemic. They already knew the danger signs. They knew that the girl may or may not survive, and she needed care. But the third thing I want to highlight here is the social norms and culture that confines women to a position of, being a survivor of violence. We don't say it a victim anymore, but she has gone through a process within a household, how discrimination is unpacked in terms of asking, constantly keeping the burden on this young girl to do household chores, to fulfill her duty as a wife. And she's been, there's a compounded nature of violence within that story. And it also shows that how not taking care of her health and being married at a young age had a very drastic consequences of her death, which we never want to see, and which could have been prevented if all these elements were to be considered very early on this process.
No, thank you very much. I think, yes, this is very important, that how the burden of honor is put on the girl's shoulder for honor of the family. So we also see that there are a lot of people in this film, such as the teacher or the doctor, could have intervened, even the husband, when we see that he was not happy with the marriage, or probably he was also struggling at the same time because he had a wife who he was not compatible with. But because probably he didn't know about contraception, or he didn't know about spacing or anything. So there are factors that, the role that community can also play.
Yes, absolutely, Mariam. This is where the social norm things actually comes. We need more male champions who support women, who kind of really promote the equity and who can raise voice for the women as well. Because what we see is social norms so confined. It's not only impacts women, but it also impacts men equally. because in their position within the society, when they know that it's wrong or discrimination is happening, there is inequity, there has been violence, but there is a restriction to really come out of it, break that barrier and myth and talk about it. Because it's also a masculinity issue of, masculinity in crisis is what I had read one time when I was in the university, because social norm impacts both men and women equally. So I think we need champions within our society, within our community, whoever speaks, who could have spoken. Like, for instance, the doctor did mention that you could have taken better care of her, but then her role ended there, right? And there were teachers, there were parents themselves who thought that better way was to get off married rather than really giving her the right, opportunities in life to empower her, to get her, more independent in her life. Rather, they sorted out the way to get her married. So this is the everyday life in village, in our homes, where we see this kind of a situation. I think that's why, from the individual to the family to the community level, everyone needs to speak up, and everyone needs to have someone or the other as a champions in the community to be able to really address this issue.
Right, thank you very much. We see Salma as a missed opportunity, not only for her family, a lost life, but also a missed opportunity for the country and the economy as well, because she was a brilliant student. She could have become probably a doctor or a teacher and serve her own community. So Latika, what message do you have? Because there are people who are watching you on social media, there are people here. What message do you have, or what message does UNFPA have for the communities when it comes to, ending child marriage? What is the role, or what is one message that you would like to give?
So one key message to everyone is, you be the change, rather than asking for the change. Individually, we all need to work on ourselves, because having legislation, definitely, there are three areas where we work, right? Really having the legislations in place. This is one thing UNFPA is also working on, and we have faced a lot of challenges around it, because there are definitely discrepancies. We still are not yet at the international standard endorsed as age of marriage here in Pakistan. Each province is different. Only Sindh has 18 years of marriage. Other provinces still has 16. So there is still a lot of work to be done at the legislative level. Even on a strategies and program level, we really need to think into what is actionable, what is achievable, and what kind of a promotive, responsive interventions is needed to really make sure that girls stay in their school, complete their education, girls get right and informed, scientifically accurate messages about themselves and their bodies, so that they can make their informed decisions about themselves. They can prevent unwanted pregnancies. They can prevent the death that could have been prevented otherwise. Those strategies has to be in place. And lastly, for the social norm change, we all need to be the change makers here. We all need to individually play our role, whether as a male, whether as a brother, whether as a sister, whether as a father. Everyone has a role to play, and we really need male champions in our society.
Thank you. Thank you, Latika. Thank you, everyone.